Have you ever struggled to start a conversation in English? Maybe you felt unsure about what to say or how to break the ice? I mean, what is small talk anyway? If any of this sounds familiar, then you are in the right place. I'm teacher Kayla, and in this lesson, I'll show you how to confidently start conversations in English with someone new using icebreaker strategies. We'll look at examples of both formal and informal scenarios so you know what to do no matter where you are. This video is part of my series on conversations in English, where we'll also cover topics such as how to keep a conversation going, how to avoid awkward silences, and practice real-life scenarios. So be sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of the lessons that are coming up. But wait, there's more. I've also created a free PDF guide to go along with this series. You can get your copy down in the description. It includes examples, tips, and practice activities for every step of the way. All right, if you're ready, let's get started. Why is starting conversations challenging? Starting a conversation with someone new can feel intimidating, especially if it's in a different language than you're used to. You might worry about saying the wrong thing or coming across as awkward. But here's the good news. Starting a conversation is a skill that you can practice and master. It doesn't matter if you're in a formal situation like a business meeting or an informal situation, chatting with friends over coffee. The key is to be friendly, open, and confident. Let's go over some icebreakers that you can use to help you break the ice and start up a conversation with someone new. Breaking the ice. The first step to starting a conversation is with a simple opening line. We call these icebreakers because they break that imaginary wall of tension or silence between you and the other person, and it allows for a more natural interaction. You've probably heard, at least at some point, that you should just go up to someone and introduce yourself. Say something like, "Hello, my name is Kayla. How are you today?" Now, that could work if you've seen this person around, you think you know them, or something similar. But it doesn't work in every situation. It can come off a little awkward, and you may chicken out before you ever get up the courage to go do this. So to help you avoid the awkwardness and those pesky little butterflies in your stomach, I've created a list of icebreaker topics that you can use in both formal and informal situations. Remember to adapt and change the language and tone just a bit depending on the context. For instance, you would avoid slang and casual phrases when speaking to a supervisor or someone in a formal setting. Icebreaker topics. Ask an opinion. We all want to feel like our opinions matter. So showing that you care about someone else's opinion by asking their thoughts about something shows that you're interested in what they have to say. Formal example of this would be, what are your thoughts on the company's recent acquisition? An informal example of this might be, what do you think about Taylor Swift's new song? I can't stop listening to it. Ask for help. Asking for help can make the other person feel valued and useful. So this is a nice way to show that you respect their abilities. Just make sure that whatever the task is convenient and not a burden. You might ask someone to show you where you can find office supplies, but maybe you shouldn't ask them to give you a 45-minute ride home. See the difference there? A formal example of this might be, could you point me towards the IT department, please? And an informal example might be, excuse me, do you know what time the next bus runs? Offering help. This one's similar to the last one, but this time you are the one that's going to do the helping. When you offer to help someone, you're immediately showing them that you are approachable, thoughtful, and willing to make their day a little easier. This can naturally make you seem easy to talk to and lead to a conversation. A formal example would be, I noticed you're reviewing the quarterly report. Would you like me to double check any sections for you? An informal example might be, looks like you've got your hands full with those boxes. Need a hand? Ask questions. People like talking about themselves, so give them a chance to do it. Asking questions shows genuine curiosity and interest in the other person. Open-ended questions can lead to longer conversations. For example, a formal example of this would be, what's your role here at the company? An informal example of this might be, so what do you usually do for fun around here? Give a compliment. You have likely encountered someone in your life that has chosen to use this tactic. And what better way to get someone to talk than to make them feel good about themselves? If you've ever experienced this and someone's given you a compliment, you know it feels good to hear that, right? So it just spreads a little joy to share that with others. A formal example of this might be, you made some excellent points in the meeting earlier. I'd love to hear more of your perspective on the topic. An informal example might be, I really love your Beatles shirt. They're one of my favorite bands. Comment on something in your environment. Pointing out something interesting or shared in the environment can be a natural way to start a conversation. It creates an instant connection by focusing on something that you both can relate to or observe. A formal example of this might be, that painting in the lobby caught my eye. It's gorgeous. Do you know who the artist is? An informal example might be, this coffee shop always smells amazing, doesn't it? Tell a joke. This is a fun, lighthearted way to connect with someone else. And just like the compliment icebreaker, this one just gets someone to smile or puts someone in a better mood. Just make sure that your joke is appropriate for the situation you're in. Here is a joke that is appropriate in both formal and informal situations. You know what can really ruin a Friday? Finding out it's only Thursday. Yeah, that would. That would definitely ruin my Friday. TGIF, am I right? Talk about the weather. Even though this is a simple, basic icebreaker, it's commonly used because it works so well. It's universally relatable and doesn't really require much effort. It's a neutral and easy topic to start with, especially if there's not much else to go on. A formal example of this might be, it's such a beautiful day outside today. I hope the weather holds up and we can enjoy it this weekend. Do you have any plans? An informal example of this might be, it's freezing out there. I think I need to start carrying around a blanket. Talk about current events or media. Talking about current events or trending topics can be a fun way to get people talking, as most people have opinions on these types of things. Just be aware of your audience and avoid talking about politics, as this can be a bit of a touchy subject for people. A formal example of this might be, did you happen to read the latest article on global markets in the Wall Street Journal? The insights on emerging trends were fascinating. An informal example of this might be, did you catch the game last night? That play was amazing. Or, did you catch the last season of the Squid Games? It was wild. Overall, the best advice that I can give you is to just take advantage of any opening that you can get. Observe your environment. Something as simple as just asking the time if they're wearing a watch or even if they have a smartphone close can get you in their line of sight and allow for potential follow-up questions where you can ask about the weather, the environment, coworker, anything. And this will keep the conversation flowing naturally. Okay, awesome work today, everyone. Now you have several icebreaker strategies to help you confidently start a conversation in English. Don't forget that this video is part of a series on mastering conversation in English. So make sure to subscribe and keep an eye out for those next videos coming up. You don't want to miss them. And once again, don't forget to grab your free copy of the PDF that goes along with this lesson. Remember, it has examples and tips from this series. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.